the soft interface or soft stay, the gum stay or normal interface, the hard interface or hard stay as they are mostly called. This soft interface is just to layer a cloth. It can be folded to any form of folding you want. It makes a stretchy cloth stop being stretchy. The normal interface or the gum stay is used to give shape to a fabric. For this particular pocket, that is the interface we are using. The hard interface, this is just to give strength to a material. So most times you need to sew something multiple times and you don't want it shrinking, and that's the interface you use. So we'll go to the normal interface or the gum stay. I'll just cut out something that is bigger than my desired measurement. My desired measurement is 3.5 inches by 3 inches for the smaller piece of the pocket. So I'll just cut it out like that and work with that. I'll be using two different methods to cut the smaller piece for the pocket and the bigger piece for the pocket. So whichever you find easy, use. So I'll make a straight line and I'll cut. That straight line is actually our origin line, because it is from that line every other dimension will come out. So I'll make a folding into two. Then every measurement I'm supposed to take will be gotten from folding the tape rule into two. So for my 3.5, I'll fold my 3.5. I'll fold my tape rule to meet my 3.5, and the half point is 1/3. So I'll mark 1/3 inches on the folding, and it is where I get 1/3. I'll stop the folding, and after that I'll cut. This 3.5 I'm cutting out is actually the length of the smaller piece. Now for the breadth, I'll fold into two, and I'll also take my half measurement. Half of 3 inches is 1.5. So I'll make a folding, whereas the folding would be 1.5 inches. Then I would also cut. After cutting, I'll make my triangular shape at the down of the length. So what I will do is I'll check for any excesses first. If there's any excesses, I'll remove whatever excesses there is on our measurement. Like I said, I'll be using two different methods to do my cutting. So if you find this method easier, you can use. If you find the other method I'll be using for the bigger piece easier, you can also use. So after checking for any excesses, I'll confirm, then I'll move ahead. Moving ahead is cutting the slant shape on the down line. So that's how we'll get the triangular edge on the down line. So I'll just mark 1/2 inch from the down line, and I'll cut from the center point to that 1/2 inch mark. Just like that, we are done with the smaller piece. So I'll go to the bigger piece. I'll cut out a piece that is bigger than my measurement. The bigger piece will be cut in such a way that the length is 1 inch bigger than the length of the smaller piece, and the breadth is 1 inch bigger than the breadth of the smaller piece. For the second method, I'll draw a straight line. This method is actually faster and more precise. I'll take my breadth measurement, which is 4 inches on that part, come to the down line, mark 4 inches, and on the middle, mark 4 inches. After which, I will join all those 4 inches points with a straight line. And after joining, I'll cut the two lines I just finished making. Then for the length, I'll fold into two, mark a straight line, and I'll follow that straight line. So it is from that line I'll take my measurement, but before then I'll cut off. Then I'll take my 4.5 inches measurement on that line. I will do that on the left and also on the right side. Join both points with a straight line and cut off as well. After that, what will be left will be to cut out the downline. So I'll cut out the downline of the big piece to make sure the half-inch excess is uniform. So that half-inch gap between the smaller piece and the big piece is uniform. Now when I'm cutting the bigger piece, I took 3/4 inch instead of half inch. So after making my line to the center and comparing it to that of the smaller piece, I realized my mistake and I readjusted that measurement to half inch instead of 3/4 inch. You can see that part is a bit smaller compared to the other part. So I readjusted my measurement to half inch. Then I cut off. Next on the menu is to start working on the fabric. So I already added soft stay or the soft interface to the wrong side of the fabric, and I used my pressing iron to hold it down. I did that for the right and the left side. The dimensions or measurements of this piece you see me cutting out, I will use my tape rule to confirm for you to see. The most important thing is just to make sure whatever you're cutting out is bigger than the half measurement of the cutout you did on your stay. So just make sure whatever pieces you are cutting out is bigger, because you need two pieces, one on the left and one on the right side. And another thing you need to note is if the grain for the bigger piece is on the right, the grain for the smaller piece would be on the left. That is paramount when you are placing both pieces while sewing. So for the length of the smaller piece, we used 4.5 inches and the breadth was 3 inches. So you can use anything bigger than that, you'll still get the same result. The length of the bigger piece is 6 inches, while the breadth is 3¼ inches. After confirming the measurements for you, we'll go straight to the sewing table, join both pieces together. And so mind you, I said if the grain of the bigger piece is on the right side, the grain of the smaller piece would be on the left side. So take note of that while you are sewing and arranging your folding. So I'll just place both together. Now on the earlier stage, there is no need to worry about what part of the fabric will be on the left or on the right. It is when you start attaching it to your gum stay, that's the cutout we made, that's when you start taking note of that. You could see that like that after stitching, but I will not open up my seam. The first thing I will do will be to reduce this 1 inch hemming gum into 1/4 inch. So that will be 4 different cuts. So I'll make 1/4 inch like that, and this is because the seam allowance for the fabric you see me sew is 1/2 inch. So if you want to place a hemming gum in between any seam allowance that is 1/2 inch, it must be smaller than 1/2 inch. That is why I'm cutting to 1/4 inch, just to be safe, because if my pressing iron gets hold of it, it will form a cluster on my pressing iron, and nobody wants that. So the first step in making your connection between your fabric and your cutout is to open your seam allowance. You do that by putting your pressing iron in between both seams and you press. After that, you start using your hemming gum to hold each side down. The hemming gum is very useful at this stage. Almost everything we'll be doing now will be with the use of that hemming gum you see me cutting out. I'll place it on underneath the gold fabric like that. I use my pressing iron to hold it down. I'll do the same on the green fabric and use my pressing iron to hold it down. After this, that seam allowance will become perfect. That seam line will become perfect. It will look as if there was no joining there. Probably it was just a fabric design, because you won't even know something was actually joined together. Then my cutout, I'll fold into two to get my center line. Just to make it conspicuous or clear, I'll use my pencil to mark out that center line, and it is on that center line of that cutout that will align with the joining point of the green and gold fabric. So that will be what will make everything perfect. And after that, I'll start bending and using my hemming gum to hold things down. We are done with the smaller piece. So after that final part, we are done with the smaller piece, and I'll show you what it is like to use this design itself to create a pocket design. So you can use this design itself to create a pocket design. What you just do is, to make it more fancy, you just place an iron badge that is a matching color iron badge on the other side. So you can see the gold effect on both sides, gold on the fabric, gold on the iron badge. But this is not our goal. Let's get back in line. So to work on the bigger piece, we'll do exactly the same thing we did on the smaller piece, which is opening up the seam and attaching the cutouts to the fabric using hemming gum. We are also done with the bigger piece, and the next stage will be to join the smaller piece to the bigger piece. So we'll join both on that center line. So you can see the green of the bigger pieces on the right, while that of the smaller pieces on the left. The joining process is just about placing properly. So if you want to press properly, just use hemming gum to hold it. Then after holding it, use your pressing iron to press it down. Then when you are done, you can use a matching thread to stitch the smaller piece to the bigger piece. Then we'll attach the iron badge using a hammer or whatever instrument available to you. This is our finished product. You can see everything came out beautiful. So thanks for watching. I'll see you on my next video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on your notification bell.